Okay, guys, we're going to get started. Thank you, everybody, for being on our live this week. Asante Organics. My name's Mike. I'm one of the formulators and CEOs here at Asante Organics. And we have a very structured week every week, right? So Tuesday night, we talk a little bit about the business and the business opportunity. And then Thursdays, we have just an unbelievable honor to have our medical director, Dr. Becky, on the line with us. And, this week is Valentine's Day week, right? So it's Lovers Week, right? So your loved ones, and, well, like me, you just got to stand in the mirror and going, oh, you look good, boy. I love you. But we all love Dr. Becky, right? And she's been a leading gastroenterologist. Well, I say it fast now, so because, if I make the mistake, I don't get it. So one of the first women ever to do in that profession. And then I got to tell you, I've known her forever. Beautiful, beautiful person, beautiful soul. And man, I watched her go from her practice and being, she still is. Her name's very well known in the Arizona state because that's where she practiced, and it was unbelievable. And then she got into a company where it was a networking company, and the company was doing 19 million, and she was a big, huge pinnacle part. And when she got involved in that company, wow, that thing went to $1 billion within 5 years. And we're so happy and honored to have her here with us. And so tonight, well, it's Valentine's Day. We got to talk about the heart. So I'm going to give the stage to Dr. Becky, and then we're going to have some more folks on as well. So, Dr. Becky,
All
thank
right.
you for
Thank you,
being here.
Michael. Thank you, everybody. Always an honor. And so, yes, tonight, because it is Valentine's Day tomorrow, I thought it would be great to talk about the heart and specifically the gut heart axis, which is a bidirectional axis, just like the gut in the brain, the gut in the liver, the gut in your skin, your gut adrenals. I mean, all of the things that I usually talk about. And since I did Microbiome 101 last week, let me just kind of condense and review that because it's important to understand that when we talk about the gut in any kind of bidirectional relationship with an organ, then we need to understand what that microbiome is in the gut. It's just trillions of organisms that live within our intestinal tract. And you either have a good microbiome or you've got a bad microbiome or a mix of both. But obviously, the more healthy the microbiome is, then the more you're supporting your systemic health. And so these organisms produce so many different neurotransmitters, different types of chemicals. They regulate where, inflammation is, where inflammation isn't. And we want to promote the good. And when we promote the good, we also systemically support the immune system because 85% of your immune system sits in your gut. And the largest endocrine system of your body is your gut. And so when we talk about you are what you eat, and when you support your gut, you are supporting your health on a total level. And so, I always do research before I do my talks because I want to see what's out there, what's going on with the NIH, what's going on with research with canines, what's going on at the major Ivy League schools. What are we talking about when it comes to the gut and the heart and the gut? And I think I've talked about this in the past, but inflammation, when we set up inflammation in our body, it is the secret killer because inflammation can cause all kinds of chronic diseases. We know it as arthritic conditions, neurodegenerative conditions, skin conditions, autoimmune conditions, but especially cardiopulmonary, cardiovascular conditions. Because if you're inflamed, then you're set up for atherosclerosis in the vessels of your heart and the periphery. And remember, our blood vessels, they span 60,000 miles. That's how many blood vessels we have running through our body. And so our cardiovascular and our peripheral vascular system is so important that we maintain a inflammatory free environment because that inflammation, when it sets up, can cause plaque in the arteries, and those plaques can rupture and they can cause a heart attack, myocardial infarction, just a big term for heart attack. But inflammation can cause myocarditis, which is just general inflammation of the heart, which can affect the function of the heart, especially cardiac output, which means how strong is your heart able to pump out blood? Because your heart's major function is to take deoxygenated blood and then send it through the lungs so it becomes oxygenated and send it out to the rest of our body. So if our cardiac output is low, we've got inflammation of the heart, we've got plaque slowing things down, you're not delivering enough oxygen to all of your areas of your periphery and your brain. So it suffers. So when we look at the current research going on between the gut, the heart, and the gut, it's being demonstrated again and again that when you have a healthy gut microbiome, it produces certain things that decreases inflammation in the bloodstream. And when you have a healthy microbiome, you are creating an intact lining of your gut to prevent leaky gut syndrome. Because with leaky gut and you're leaking toxins into your system, and especially if you're also leaking like proteinaceous and undigested things because you're not taking your daily digest, the inflammatory cascade starts to set up. But the other thing too is that a good microbiome can produce a lot of short chain fatty acids, which help to decrease inflammation in our body, to decrease inflammation affecting the heart, to hopefully avert something called myocarditis, to help your blood pressure, and to increase your cardiac output. So there's studies showing that if someone suffered a heart attack or they had inflammation of the heart, or all of a sudden their heart starts to decrease in its function, again, that's called your cardiac output. Or if you have an echocardiogram of your heart, they look at your ejection fraction. How much blood are you pumping out on, every second? And what is the actual pumping mechanism of your heart? Is it full and it's pumping regularly, or is it dilated and it's very weak and it's trying to pump? So with a healthy microbiome and helping to prevent inflammation, not only helps all the other things I mentioned about chronic arthritic conditions, neurodegenerative conditions, skin conditions, autoimmune phenomenon, but also inflammation is linked to metabolic syndrome and hypertension and type 2 diabetes, again, all having an adverse effect on the heart. So when you are working with your microbiome and you're treating it the right way with the following routine, which I want to go over, because I think when you're consistent and persistent with a routine, with Essanté organic certified plant-based products, those are attributes of success: consistency and persistency. It's attributes of success, whether it's in business, your personal life, your health. And you need to be consistent because you need to use reds and greens, or you go to the store and you shop in the produce section and you get those whole reds and greens, because what you need is to support that microbiome. These are prebiotics. So prebiotics are there as a fertilizer to help support the microbiome to proliferate into more healthy microbiome. But one of the big things at night is do your phyto cleanse, because this is a magnesium-based, enzymatic-based product that allows for your intestines to eliminate something called biofilm. And biofilm is just a slime housing that sits over bad microbiome colonies. I liken it to, it's like a bad gang of microbiome hanging out, Crips and Bloods hanging out, and they've got this shelter, the slimy shelter that's protecting them. But when the phytocleanse comes in and it eliminates that slime and that biofilm, then those bad gang of microbiome leave with it. And then you populate with reds and greens because they're prebiotics. And then you populate with the probiotics because those are the active cultures, especially with the lactobacillus probiotics. And then keeping your body alkaline with the shake, with the alkaline drops, and doing your daily digest. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, a big term that medicine uses to say you're not producing enough digestive enzymes. Well, hello, as we age, that's what happens. But they want you to take prescription enzymes. And I talked to a gentleman the other day whose wife unfortunately passed from pancreatic cancer, but she had pancreatic insufficiency for many years. And he said, I never knew there was like a natural plant-based, enzyme product. And I said, well, what were you paying the pharmacy for these pharmaceutical enzymes? He said, $500 a month. I said, you're kidding me. He goes, I have bottles of them at home. I don't know what to do with them. I guess I'll throw them out. He goes, but that's what they charge. And I thought that was shocking. So here at Essanté, you've got Daily Digest to allow for you to break down fats and carbs and proteins and then assimilate, absorb, and help elimination. Again, you're going to support your microbiome with prebiotics and probiotics. You're going to stay alkaline. You're going to use phytocleanse to get rid of biofilm. So the bottom line is get out the bad, put in more good, let it proliferate, let it solidify the junctions of your intestinal integrity so that we prevent inflammation and allow that microbiome that's the good microbiome to produce these good chemicals such as short chain fatty acids that support the heart. So why not do that every day, knowing that you're doing something great to support the most important system when it comes to life or death? And also, I throw the omegas in there too, because they are organic flax, the best prebiotic on the planet, but omegas are great for your heart health. So that being said, who's going green? And I'm going green, and who's coming with me? And I do want to introduce the next guest, and her name is Mint, and I've known Mint for over 20 years. And she's going to talk a little bit about the frequency of the heart. And, Mint's background is very extensive. She's trained for years with energy alchemists, bio-neurophysicists, and she's just a researcher of universal truth and health. And I love when she speaks because it always speaks from the heart, and she has her frequency to impart to everybody else. So with that, Mint, I know you're on the line. I want to bring you on so you can share your knowledge with everybody. And thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Becky. I'm always fascinated how you can take something so complicated and really put it into terms that everybody can understand. I think that there's a lot of us, I know, there are a lot of us who need to know why before we get into action. So you've provided a wonderful foundation on why, and I'm going to continue where you passed it off to me. And but most of us don't, that the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. And the heart helps release oxytocin, right? When we go to hug, we've been taught to hug on the left side, but that's actually incorrect. We should, right, left. It should be heart to heart hug. And since this is February, it's Fall in Love with Yourself month. Try that. And when we do heart to heart hugs, there is a synergy that happens. Those frequencies resonate with each other, and it actually triggers oxytocin. That's why most people feel better when they hug. Here's the catch: 20 seconds. It's a 20-second hug. Now, that's a long time for most people. We've been taught touch and go, or, sometimes I call it the shoulder tap. Oh, hi, or the air kiss. But actually having a hug that's heart to heart is good for both people. Here's my little trick. Sometimes 20 seconds feels like forever because it's not in our habit. So often I will make conversation. Just have a little something to say to make the time go by a little bit faster. Or sometimes if there's music playing, I'll just kind of like start to get into like a little bit of a dance. But when that happens, when our hearts connect, the frequency, it's synergistic, means that we're more than our sum total, right? We have a power together that we don't have separate. But when we do come together for that moment, we just charge up. And then when we separate, we're at a better state of being. Why is that important, you ask? Thought you were asking that. Because our experiences are determined by our magnetism. What does that mean? The heart actually beats out a frequency, and frequencies of like will respond to it. Now, I had a wonderful training with my team earlier tonight, and I was reminded we don't see electricity, but we have an experience from it. And we don't see magnetism, but we can have an experience from it. If you hold the magnets, you can feel the pull, or you can feel them pushing against each other. You can't put them together no matter what, because they are not a match. So it's important for us to be a match. The body is magnetic before electric. And that means however I calibrate my body is going to be a primary factor in the experiences that I have. This is the same for everybody. This is arguable, and I honestly I don't have any documentation with this one right now, but this is something that's currently under research. Why organics are so effective, multiple times more effective, and I say 10 because I like that number, and maybe it's 15. I'm not exactly sure, but the body is receptive to it because it has a frequency, we have a frequency, and it will be drawn into it. The body can't wait to receive the nutrients that are in alignment with it, that are of a frequency match. And I want to thank Michael for inventing, or participating in the invention of the device that charges our greens. I just love doing the demonstration where you can see how alive it is. And quickly, we know that leaves eat light. That is their food. And we eat leaves. So we eat light. Why is that important to eat light, you ask? I'm so glad you're curious. Because the study says, now there are scientists who have really nothing better to do than calculate things like this, but I'm going to tell you this one. This is fascinating. And Laura Lee Kenny, she knows this one. I just shared it. 8 billion people on the planet, and we all have cells, right? We've all got molecules. And we are taught 99.999% empty space. So if we're all empty space, then what is that? And they calculated if you took all the human beings on the planet, 8 billion of them, and you removed all the empty space, the physical matter for 8 billion people would fit into a size of a sugar cube. Does that blow your mind? It sure blows mine. But what that tells me is that empty space isn't empty. It's light. We're light. We're light bodies. We're light bodies that have a frequency. The frequency determines the form. And then how the form is, that beats out a frequency in itself. And then the magnetic draws it back to us. So if you want to have a good time, treat yourself right, fall in love with yourself month in February, and hug people and be the magnet for the people that you want to attract in your life. It is absolutely impossible any other way. I can't stay the same and expect my outer world to change. The change comes from within, and then the outer world is compelled to accommodate that change. That's a universal law. So what Dr. Becky was talking about, I love efficiency. There's lots and lots of ways to do things. And some people, they enjoy the superficial. It's kind of entertaining to kind of dabble, up here. But that's not my style. I want to get it done. I want to help people quickly. And so the things that I teach are what I call pivot points. Find the leverage. Find the point where you have the power and leverage it. And then start enjoying yourself. But other than that, we're constantly reacting to something that's going on the outside, or we're letting the situation determine our state of being. State of being converts into frequency that my heart is beating. So what state of being do I want? Some people are familiar with the vagus nerve. This is the nerve that connects the heart to the brain. And we get all kinds of wonderful communications from that. It tells the brain, the heart tells the brain what chemicals to make, including dopamine. Why do you think they call it dope? It feels good. It's dopamine. Hello. So taking care of the heart is absolutely essential. Having that frequency right means that you're a magnet for what you want to attract. And that makes it easy. It's not that much work. Just calibrating my beingness changes my environment. And I recently I had what I would call a miraculous moment where everything that I teach, I experiment with. Otherwise, I wouldn't teach it. I don't pass along things that somebody else said and it sounds like a good idea. I literally test it. So I had an experience the other day and somebody felt that they really, really needed to vent. And I was the lucky one. I'm not really the one to sit there and kind of take that stuff. But I found myself being affected by the environment. And I didn't like the way that I felt. Literally, the anxiety. Bad chemistry. I could feel the cortisol building. So in the moment, while somebody was spouting off at me, without closing my eyes, which is usually part of the process, I went into the calibration activity. Cross the arms and legs, interlace the fingers, cross, and I just rested them in my lap and I maintained eye contact. But what I decided is I'm taking command of my state right now. I don't like that I gave my power to somebody else and that they get to choose that I get to feel bad. So I decided that I am going to activate my divinity, activate my inner power, and I'm going to recalibrate myself so that I am in my normal, happy state. And I did it right in the middle of them talking, and I watched everything change. It was fascinating. In the middle of her saying whatever she was saying, and then just kind of like tapered off, and she just changed the subject and went into something else. And, you know, then she wanted to be helpful and give me compliments. And I've never seen anything. I've known this person for years. I've never seen anything like that. But also, I never decided to take control of myself in the moment. I would wait and let somebody yell at me, and then I would leave, and then I would try to manage my state after that. I would give them the opportunity, and then I would manage it after that. So I'm not doing that anymore. These studies, I'm practicing them and I'm seeing them work. It's really fun. Really fun. You'd attract people to you wherever you are. You're in your car. I'm in a parking lot. Just sitting there. I'm doing something on my phone or whatever before I leave. And there's somebody else. And then they start chatting with me. I'm in a store. I'm in a line. Wherever I'm at. I'm in an office. I'm waiting. I meet people all over. And somehow there's something that always resonates. There's always a connection. We have a connection with everybody. It's up to us to find it, to know that it's there. And when I say find it, seek and we'll find. If you look for it, you'll find it. That's the important part about doing business. Many people will do business with a friend, even if they're bad at business, because they like them. So why not let people like you because you fell in love with yourself in February? It's fantastic. You're calibrating your heart. You're not afraid to do heart-to-heart hugs, left side. Somebody will come in, give you a hug. You go, oh, hug me. It's like, hey, let's try it this way this time. Boom. Because usually that right side hug don't last too long anyway. Like I said, shoulder tap, and bye. So we have the power. And according to epigenetics, the second most powerful environment is the body. So when Dr. Becky's talking about what products to take for what purposes, empowering the body, the IQ goes up, the chemistry starts. It's amazing how little we have to do to feel good. But I'm going to tell you, here's my favorites right here. 1, 2, 3. These are my favorites. And this one is my all-time favorite. This is a game changer. If you don't know about this product, do your own research. There's wonderful, wonderful information about it. We have all we need, and the body can't wait to receive it. It can't wait to do what it does. And it's not a miracle. Now, my little testimony with me, I had 5 bulging discs a few years ago. And I had a category called reasonable accommodations. That means don't ask me to do things that aren't good for me. And they gave me the sit-stand desk. And I realized that when I was leaning over to pull the desk up, that's what hurt. So I didn't want to go through that process because it hurt more than not doing it. So I asked for an electric one, same price. Other people have them. They don't even have reasonable accommodations. And somebody decided to be a stickler. And they said, well, you need a new note from your doctor. So my doctor says, not a problem. I'll write you a letter. Go get another set of x-rays. I'll order it. He calls me and he says, I have bad news. I can't write you the letter. I said, what happened? He said, well, your x-rays came back and we had to analyze them a few times because it showed no abnormalities. I said, but you wrote in the first letter that there is no cure and this is a condition that is known to get worse with time and age. He said, well, I can't explain it. I'm just telling you the results. So I apologize that I can't help you with this. What I realized was I was already in tune with my body, how to take care of it better. I was falling in love with myself. No, I just don't want to do those things that don't feel good to my body. I actually love my body. I love what it does for me. And why not just be a little bit more gentle? So having that experience, I wasn't trying to heal my back because I don't believe in healing. Although some people call me a healer. It's really funny, but the truth is that we heal ourselves because of our vibration. And whatever vibration our heart has, that's the caliber of our power. So my process was that I'm just so grateful that my body has divine intelligence and it always knows what to do and it's always doing it. And thank you that I'm cooperative. And I was just really celebrating the glory of this incredible vessel. I never talk about healing because there is no way to address something that needs to be healed without subconsciously addressing that something is wrong. And if you're going to be a powerful manifester, we have to eliminate all options but the one that we really want. And that means we only focus on what we want. So what do I want? I want a body that's always rejuvenating. I get younger all the time. I have more energy. I recover from my workouts quicker. I have more endurance. I'm so grateful. This body is fantastic. And we've got a great product line and we have all kinds of wonderful people here to help share the information for us to know what the right thing to do is. You're not going to find it in mainstream media. We're going to learn from each other. Thank you, Dr. Becky, Michael, Dr. JJ, everybody with Essanté. I really appreciate it. I'm going to give a couple shout outs here. It's like Timothea, woo! Edie, I love you. And I see Paige is here too. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and giving me just a few moments of your time. I love doing this together. It's a lot more fun. Mwah. Love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Thank you, Mint. I'm practicing this hugging on this side over here. Seeing as Valentine's, who am I going to hug? So I got the pillow, right? And red for Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah,
But,
practice hugging.
right, there you
I
go.
wanted to give a little feedback, Michael. You said something earlier that I thought was really important. You were telling a story about a lady who basically she needed some education and you guided her to find it herself. That is a very powerful technique. It works much, much better than me telling someone again and again and again. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. That's a great technique, and I recommend it for everybody. Oftentimes I'll tell them there's this crappy app called Yuka, Yuka, and I say that it's crappy because it's not that intelligent. I bought some organic freeze-dried strawberries, and it rated my product poor because it was high in sugar. I don't know how to make strawberries without sugar. So the app is not that smart. And of the same like, the app rated a product fair because it had 3 poisonous chemicals in there that were listed as low risk. But when I looked those up, like Michael Winiger taught me to do, he goes, just look it up. What if you don't know what something is, just look it up, look it up. So I looked it up, and what it said was those low risk ingredients, when combined, were super high risk. So the app isn't that smart, but it's a good way for people to discover for themselves rather than being told, sucker, you've been buying crap, you've been buying bad stuff. Nobody wants to hear that. They don't want to be told on. Let them tell on themselves. We're just here to guide, just shining the light on some areas that maybe we're not familiar with. So I didn't mean to take it over again, Michael.
I'm about ready.
That was a really good point.
I'm about ready to grab that pillow again and start hugging. Okay, so let's go back to that, and I want to end with something. So the word I was looking for is, and I use this. I used this because this person was a lawyer, a paralegal anyway, and it's called discovery, right? That's the word. I said, don't lawyers, before they get into the courtroom, they do what's called discovery. And she said, yes. And then I said, okay. So we did and I said, all right, so, and I didn't say any, and I'm going to say this to the crowd again because I think it's important, because you're going to find this in a lot of stuff. So, and especially in the personal care space, right? So I said, all right, so if a person's doing discovery, and you know what formaldehyde is, right? She goes, yeah. And I says, it's they embalm bodies with it, and they preserve parts at a science lab and all this stuff. I mean, it's toxic, crazy stuff. And I said, but you know what? It's formaldehyde. Now, would you put formaldehyde on yourself? She goes, no, I never would do that. I'm going, okay, let's do some discovery. And then she goes, yeah. And I'm saying, all right, get on Google. And then she goes, okay. And I told her to put is EDTA. EDTA is EDTA formaldehyde. She does it, and I said, read what it says. I had her tell me. It says, yes, EDTA is formaldehyde. I said, okay, let's stop here now, because you said you had a product line that you were excited about. It's plant-based. There's no chemicals. It's this, it's that, no toxicity, blah, blah, blah. Look at that thing, that cleanser you got. And what does that say there? Like, you read from the bottom up, go back about 5 or 6 things. What's that? EDTA? You got formaldehyde? That's not a plant. And well, then we did some more discovery, because I said, I did all these things at once, the discovery thing. So she knew what EDTA was. She knew propylene glycol was in antifreeze. So we did the discovery first, and then we brought out the evidence. What's the evidence? The products that I knew, and we looked. And I said, I'm sorry, I think I might have, maybe ended your day in a bad way, but I think it's my job I'm an educator, so I'm doing my job. And we have a broken system when it comes to the nutritional industry and the personal care industry, because it's self-regulated, which means you can put anything you want in there, say whatever you want, and get away with it. But now we did discovery, and we found the evidence, and the verdict is guilty. That's what I said. So after that, but oh boy. So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about, real quick, I want to show you something, because Mint brought up some really good points today about frequency, right? We're frequency. We're all frequency. But guess what? We're living and we're breathing. That's why we're frequency. And in order to keep a high frequency, you have to put frequency inside of you. Okay. So we're positively charged. That's the frequency we have as a living person. And plants, well, there's something you can do to plants that only one company in the world ever has done to plants, because they got the only machine in the world that does it, because it had to be engineered and able to do it. You don't buy this machine. You had to figure it all out for yourself. I'm going to show you what we're positively charged. Now I'm going to show you what a negative charge looks like. We have the Essanté earth greens. Okay. Yeah, a lot of companies have greens. Dead greens. I'm going to show you what live greens looks like. Why? Because we probe it. And when you probe it and you can get it, we were able to get a negative 750 megahertz charge. Negative, right? So what does positive and negative do? When it gets close to each other, like a magnet refrigerator, bam, now it sticks and it won't come off. And it's there for a reason. So it simulates and creates. So the negative frequency gets inside and it creates an enormous high frequency. But because you can't see this on anybody else's products, we'll show it to you tonight. I'm going to show you something with what is known as frequency, right? And a negative charge. So this is in the greens. We're going to take this out, right? And what you're going to see, I want to get this, I got to get it all off the thing so I can just do it, because it's, okay. So now what you're going to see is you're going to see this product sticking a lot to the scoop, because you don't see the scoop, right? So when you take it out, and I'm going to do it from over here because I don't want to get it all over my computer. And so here's what happens. When I touch it, it starts moving, starts jumping, and even the top will start jumping.
The AI or artificial intelligence, I think, for a long time to come.
Oh, and these are not artificially intelligent. These are live and intelligent. It's frequencies, right? So yeah, so that's a big thing about the greens, right? So you take these things out, and when you get your greens, you're going to see this with the reds and the shakes too. You're going to take it out, and you'll go, whoa, my gosh, that stuff's all sticking on there. And then when you go to touch it, it starts flopping all over the place. And now it's like, it's not even touching me. I'm not touching it, but it's feeling me. And I am like full of it now. And greens, let's just say that, full of greens, right? So with that being said, that is huge, and that is really important when it comes to a product line. And I'm going to tell you that I met a guy, JJ and myself met a guy, and he was on Facebook saying, please pray for me. And, and he was in the hospital, and he had all these horrible gut things going on, and he didn't know what was going on. And so what happened was, I told him that, there it is again, right? You can see it all over there, popping around. And everybody's saying, prayers, we're going to send you out some prayers. And you know what I told him? Because of his, I was looking at the products he was saying he was taking. I said, you know why you got that, you're in the hospital with these gut issues? You were taking dead greens. There's a difference between live greens and dead greens. You just saw really high frequency live greens, and they'll keep you, and I'll tell you what, this is for eating. These things will keep you awake if you take them. I'm telling you, that's so anyway, with that being said, Mint was right. We're frequency, plants are frequency. And when you take, plants are food, plants are everything. That's what it is, right? And when you take that inside your system with that high of a frequency, a negative 750 megahertz charge, nobody in the world does it. And it hits, it absorbs before it gets out of the small intestines. I'm going to tell you what, guys, you are going to feel it like crazy, and you will. The reds, the greens, everything that we got powdered form, because I won't do anything less than that, because that's how you can get a negative charge on that. So That's something very unique that you have to this product line. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Mint. I want to thank Dr. Becky. I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for being here and really learning, because this is good stuff. We get to understand the medical institute, the medical institution, the medical system wants you to think this is really hard. Why? Because they make money at it. But this is really easy, right? And with that being said, we teach easy. So you understand it. You can go out there and tell somebody about it. And at one point in time, you're on a Zoom and you're talking about this stuff because it's the same information all the time, all the time. And it's simple and it's simple to do. You have to be disciplined in order to do it properly. That's it. And you'll learn how to be disciplined because however you do it, and take it and love it and allow yourself to love not only this to love your body, but yourself to, these products to love you as well. So thank you, everybody. I thank you for being here. We had a long one tonight, but that's good. It was good education. Thank you. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless your businesses. And you guys have a happy, happy Valentine's Day. And know something, we love you. That's why we're here. We love you. And so feel the love. All right. And we love you just not on Valentine's Day. We love you every single day. So God bless you all. And you have a great evening. And we'll see you again on Tuesday. Tuesday's business. I might even get Mint to jump on if I can. I'm going to try and convince her. She's going to be there. She'll be there. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Be blessed. Happy Valentine's Day.